Hello, my friends. Welcome back to the Healthy Eating for Busy Women podcast. I'm happy you're here. I am so excited about today's topic because I think this is something that no one is talking about. I think that what makes my work really unique is I have made it my mission to help those of you who identify as really ambitious type A, really having that specific way of thinking that feels like you have everything you need to get this done, but maybe you're confused why you don't have the weight loss you want or the eating habits you want. So we're going to cover all of that up today, specializing in helping women like us for the past almost decade now. I have a very specific process and very specific teachings that address why the things you've done in the past haven't worked for you because of the type of brain you have. So we're going to talk all about that today, but I want y'all to do me a quick favor. If you are someone who has listened for some time or you have listened to an episode that gave you some value, if you could do me a massive favor and give this podcast a 5-star review with maybe a little something that you've learned from it or something you liked. This really helps the podcast get in front of more women like you who it could help. And it kind of tells the podcasting platform that it's something that is giving genuine value. So I'd very much appreciate it. But without further ado, let's just get into what I want to talk about today. So what I want to discuss is, again, why type A women don't lose weight. Now, sometimes this can sound contradictory because we'll think type A, that means that you're just more productive, you're more successful, you are more ambitious. So how could that hold you back? And this is why this isn't talked about enough. And this is why I have really made it my mission to coach those of us who relate, because I can tell you the majority of the suffering I went through when I was really struggling with consistent healthy eating and weight loss was because I knew how capable I was. I was organized, I was successful, I was the best at other aspects of my life. And I know that sounds a little bit maybe full of myself, but it's not coming from that place. Truly, I was a high achiever and I was so confused when I was putting so much effort in, I was so dedicated, and I wasn't creating the results in this area that I wanted to create. So if that relates to you at all, maybe you don't even identify as a type A or perfectionist high achiever, that's okay. This is going to give you some clarity. So here's the biggest problem that's happening. I want us to humble ourselves and let this sink in. The big problem with type A women is excuses don't feel like excuses with healthy eating and weight loss. So most people who give obvious excuses are, I can't do this, nothing works for me, I just never have time, I always mess things up. That is obvious when those people are in their victim thinking, right? These are the people that you may not identify as. If you're listening and you do identify as that person, you are still welcome here, and that's okay. It's just referring to a different end of the spectrum. But if you do not hold yourself in that regard and you think, no, I know I'm capable, I know I can do things, you're still having excuses if you don't have this result. They just look very different. And I want to normalize the excuses you might be having as a type A woman so you can call it out so it stops holding you back. My very high achieving, ambitious women don't usually have thoughts like, I just can't do this and nothing works for me. Here's what the thoughts sound like. It sounds like just a really busy time of the year. I really just want to make sure I find the right method. I'm going to do more research. I just need to learn more first. I need to make sure I'm eating the right things. I need to make sure that I'm doing it right before I start. But next season, next year, I'm going to focus on it. You guys, these sound like rational thoughts, but they are excuses dressed up as logic. There's this veneer of high performatism on top of it that allows you to maintain this identity that you want to have as this type A professional woman and someone who is very ambitious. Your thoughts will sound prettier, but they're still excuses. And what makes this so hard, you guys, for those of us who think this way, is unless we're calling this out, they're going to stay invisible to us. We won't notice that they're holding us back because we really believe them when we say, oh, it's just a busy time of the year. This thought functionally has the same function as a thought that's declaring, I can't do this. But we're just putting some glitter on it and telling that story it's actually true. If you do not have the results you want with your eating habits or weight loss, I've been here too, there are excuses happening, and this is okay. This just makes us human, but we need to learn how to call out these excuses and handle them so they're not going under the radar. Why hidden victimhood happens in high achievers, and I know that's a strong word, but it's true, is because so many of you, including myself in the past, don't identify as someone who has a victim mindset. You see yourself as responsible, capable, motivated. I am here to unattach the shame we might have with a victim mentality. This is something that is so normal from the brain, and it's gonna offer it. We're all gonna have this. And I want you guys to acclimate to the fact that you are a human rather than assuming that you're never making excuses and you're never having a victim mindset. Because victimhood can wear many different outfits, let's say. So when you are saying, I'll focus on this later when my life slows down, or I want to make sure I do this right, what you're really saying is, I am not capable of doing this right now. I'm not in charge of my life. Life is in charge of my life, and I need ideal circumstances to get this done because I can't right now. That's actually what you're saying. You're handing the steering wheel to your schedule, your stress, your family, whatever it is, and you're liking your reasons for it because you are attaching higher self-worth to a busy life. And what I want you to know is that this is actually helplessness repackaged as logic. And when I learned this for myself, you guys, it was the biggest slice of humble pie. I swear to you, I truly had to process so much entitlement, a bit of shame, just because I had to be so honest with myself, right? Where I had really pretty excuses for not prioritizing my health. And really, it was just the same thing as helplessness and not taking responsibility for my life. So I want to offer you guys this because the sooner you can call out your human victimhood or excuses that we've all got, the easier it will be to create these results. And that's what I want for you. So here's the thing. As high achievers, yes, there are qualities that serve us with our logic or type A-ness or whatever it might look like for you. But the thing a lot of us struggle with is we will use our logic and intellect as a shield from emotion. So the real kicker is a lot of women are using logic, not just to justify inaction, but to suppress how they really feel about this area of their life. And I want to say that again so we hear it. A lot of women are using logic, not just to justify inaction, but to suppress how they really feel about this area of their life. So you've convinced yourself, you're fine, everything's good, you can solve this problem, it's not a big deal. And you tell yourself, I could lose weight if I wanted to. I know I'm capable. I'm healthy enough. It's not worth obsessing over. I don't want to hustle. But underneath, you actually believe, I don't have the results I want. I don't feel confident in my body. I'm always thinking about food. I don't feel like I have control. And you're feeling like you're failing at something that should be simple for you. This is tough. And this is something, if you're feeling this, I want you to be honest about so we can give it some breathing room. Because this is why we're not creating the results we want. We're having tenderness and shame and inadequacy and disappointment, but we're not being honest about it. We're covering it up with logical excuses that feel relevant at the time. So instead of admitting this discomfort and this pain and asking for help, we armor it with strategy, with research, with intellect. We drown out the emotion with spreadsheets, plan, tracking apps. You intellectualize the problem so you don't have to process the emotions of solving for it. And here's the really big truth. You cannot create long-term weight loss results and change your eating habits from a place of emotional suppression. It will not work because you will keep armoring yourself to the point of hustle and burnout without ever really looking at why you don't have this area solved for in your life, right? So the first step to real change, and I say this with so much love and understanding this, stop pretending that you aren't bummed out. Stop pretending that you don't need help, that this doesn't maybe hurt a little bit, that you're having shame or inadequacy or whatever that is. Be real with yourself. It is safe for you to do that. Stop minimizing how much brain space this is actually taking up, and don't tell yourself that this doesn't matter right now, that work's more important or the kids are more important. If you're listening to this podcast, this is supremely important to you. This is something you very much want. And I want you to have the vulnerability to declare that so we can solve for it. Because deep down, that matters so much more. It's not weakness to notice our excuses and what we're vulnerably feeling. It's honesty. It's being the best parent to yourself. And it is the most powerful thing you can do for yourself to progress right now. So the shift I want to offer you today is to relinquish, to let go of, surrender the logical veneer. All right. So this isn't about shaming yourself. We do not have to shame ourselves to take responsibility and be honest. We can take responsibility and be kind to ourselves. If you don't have the eating habits or body you want and you are putting an effort elsewhere in life, then there's definitely excuses happening. And it's all right. I've made all of them in the past. We're human. Your brain just wants to stay comfortable. So it will offer reasonable sounding excuses to avoid discomfort. You need to delay it because of time. You'll think you need to plan more. You'll hoard information and educate yourself on nutrition or whatever it is. You guys, I knew more about nutrition and studies and all these things more so than anyone around me, and I didn't have results. I've done everything I'm talking to you about right now, so I get it. You'll tell yourself you're too busy. These are all ways your brain keeps you from doing what actually creates results, which is, wait for it, taking imperfect, consistent action. This is what all of us type A'ers have a huge problem with. We don't like to do things that feel messy. We hate it. We abhor it. We do not want to participate in that. We want to feel like we know everything that's going to happen before it happens, so we can do it right, so we can feel good about it. For those of you who don't know, this is the perfectionist procrastinator in all of us. We want to have all the lights on in the room before we take the very first step, and the best you have is a flashlight. We cannot skip this step. You will have to be willing to participate in trial and error to get this done. So we need to stop delaying that. And your brain, all the excuses, how it's functioning, it's acting exactly how it's supposed to act. And it's about us learning to manage our human brain. As the adult and someone who has a part of your brain that can have awareness of it, you have to notice these excuses and redirect. Because when you decide to have mental honesty, everything's going to change. Being a type A woman doesn't exempt you from messy humanness. You have it now, you're going to have it, and we don't need to be messy or have messy results in order to feel our messy humanness and acknowledge it. Progress will be messy, our humanness will be messy, but you can have clean weight loss and eating habits. That is true. You, as a type A woman, and I say this for me too, you are not above excuses. You are just better at branding them. This makes me laugh because it's so true, right? You are not above excuses. You're just way better at positioning them in a way that feels more high level to everyone else around you, right? And the worst part is, you guys, all of our friends and relatives, everybody around us will buy into that because we're really good at fooling everyone, including ourselves. I'll just prioritize this later on in life. They're like, she's just so good at prioritization. I'm just going to make sure I do this when I have all the right information. She's just so smart. Takes one to know one, you guys. I promise. I've done all these same things, but we've got to be the ones to find this and call it out because we're the only ones who can see these thought patterns that are getting us in the way of the results we want. So I want you to try this simple truth check whenever you make an excuse or justification for not changing this area of your life. I want you to ask yourself, if I were being completely honest with myself right now, would I believe this reason? Let yourself answer this question. I ask myself this question a lot. It would probably surprise some of y'all. Sometimes it's daily. If I were being completely honest with myself, would I believe this reason for not doing the thing that I planned on doing or that I want to do? So, for example, if we think, I don't have time right now, really? Or am I just choosing to not prioritize this? I'm still researching the right approach. Really? Or am I just avoiding failure? And I'm avoiding really committing and taking responsibility because I don't want to feel shame. Your job is to lovingly but firmly call yourself out so you can have clarity. I want you guys to stop suffering, and how you do that is you put firm ground underneath your feet and you be honest with yourself. It's how you take your power back. You stop waiting for life to get easier, because what I can tell you right now, having done this for a very long time, is the women who create these results long-term and very efficiently stop waiting for ideal circumstances because they overcome exactly what I'm sharing with you guys today. This is it. If you can overcome the pretty excuses that still allow you to feel positioned highly without having the results you want, it's done. Your results are done. They're going to happen. Period. At the end, you're going to create the results you want. So, my friends, if this episode hit home for you, or maybe just parts of it did, I'm so glad. This is a sign to me as your coach that you are ready to create results. And I really mean this. This result will never get any easier. No one's going to come along and say, here you go, you can just have it. We really need to understand that at some point we have to make a decision to get over our own stuff, but in a way that's not shameful and not hustly, in a way that's mature and sustainable. So let this be the moment where you decide to stop covering your excuses in glitter, start owning your progress. You do not need perfect timing. You don't need to know every step. You just need to be honest. So my friends, if you want help with that, you already know my Own Your Eating Habits membership is the place to be. If you are struggling, get in there. I'm going to coach your face off. I'm going to get you from point A to Z. You're going to have support and solutions to getting out of this rut that you may be in. So love y'all so much. Have a fantastic rest of your week, and I'll talk to you next week.